Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football TITTH number 144. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. We got a full gang this morning. Got Nick and Steve with us. Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Sunday. How are we doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Howdy. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How are you guys doing today? Did you guys catch the fights last night? It was pretty exciting stuff, right?
I definitely tracked them. We were kind of off on our bets when we went over our show. That's what I kind of tracked. It was like 50-50 to be honest, but good fights from what I saw, heard most of the time.
Yeah, I think that card was highly touted going in, and there was, I mean, the Leon Edwards fight getting moved to 263 was tough, but it still lived up. I liked every fight on that.
I didn't love every fight. I went 3-2 on my picks. Ferguson and Schnell really laid eggs for me. I wasn't very satisfied with their strategies and their bouts, but hey, that's what happens. You have a strategy and then someone hits you in the face. Or in Benil's situation, he pummels you to the ground and keeps you there. So, it was all right. I really enjoyed it, especially the ending, right? I mean, the last fight, Oliveira, Chandler, that was a fireworks I think that we were looking for. Hats off to Oliveira. Going to be a fun division to track going forward, so should be good stuff. We got some football in the docks today, but this week we're going to be off. If you can tell, I'm obviously not shooting from home. I'm in Illinois, visiting some family, going to see some friends. My brother's graduating from high school, so we're going to do all that fun stuff, right? So we're going to be off for the week. No hockey tomorrow, no basketball on Wednesday. So just a little bit of that stuff here. Nick, how did your Capitals do yesterday? Got a dub.
Yeah, got the W. I'm glad. The one thing that I didn't like when I saw pop up on Bleacher Report was Vanacek left the game. That wasn't good. That's a big bummer. But the team is a veteran team, which is great to see. They were able to compose themselves and get the W. So 1-0 lead in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a super physical game. A lot of fun to watch. I lost a little bit of money. I took the Bruins money line. I felt really good about it still. I mean, especially when Vanacek did leave the game. Craig Anderson came in, and I was just like, oh, I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to cash this ticket. But, man, Craig Anderson stuck one in our eyes. Yeah, he got it done. I had to give my hats off to him. I would still hope they'd start Varlamov going forward, though, so. We'll see what happens. You got any picks for today, Steve? And then we'll jump into the show here.
Yeah, I got a couple. I got White Sox run line minus 1.5. You're getting it at plus 125. I think you can move the line to even 2. Get it at like 150. They're probably the hottest team in baseball, and they're playing a struggling Royals team in Brady Singer. And then I also, for basketball, I like the Rockets plus 7.5 tonight against the Hawks. I think they've they don't win games. They're not going to win this game. I can guarantee that. But they play them close enough, and that's just too big of a number.
Right on. Yeah, I'm just sticking with hockey today. I'm fading NBA until we get to the playoffs just because so many people are taking games off to close out the season. So today I got a 3-gamer. I'm taking Penguins money line, Panthers plus 1.5, and Vegas on the money line as well. It's like 20 to 50. It's a pretty good haul. So pretty excited about that. Playoff hockey's here, so I'm going to be leaning on that quite a bit. But let's get to the football. Let's jump in. We're talking fantasy today. But before we get into that, let's talk about NFL schedule. We got the schedule drop early this week. Pretty excited about it. Steve, we'll start off with you. What was one of the games that really stuck out to you that you're excited about?
I mean, it's tough. I think the one that really sticks out to me is Bucks Patriots. Brady going back to Gillette Stadium. That's it's going to be a big get. And it'd be something if Bill Belichick can put something together to beat the defending champs.
Yeah, that would be. And also, I think, what is it? Brady is 1,000 yards or just under 1,000 yards away from breaking Drew Brees' all-time passing yards record. So he actually has a shot if he can average like 240 to 260 yards per week for the first 3 weeks. He could hit that in week 4 in New England. That would be wild. That would be crazy. What about you, Nick? You got one?
Yeah, for the Ravens, actually, it's actually a block of 3 games that is going to really determine the AFC North. Week 12 is Cleveland. Week 13 is Pittsburgh. Week 14 is Cleveland.
Ooh, oh, wow.
What a ringer. That's definitely
wild.
Yeah, like for me, that's kind of crazy. They're going to go against, it's the AFC North is no longer the Steelers and the Ravens anymore. The Browns are in there, and Burrow is coming up with Cincinnati. But that 3-game, block is going to really determine how the Ravens season is going to go, how the Steelers season is going to go, and how the Browns seasons are going to go, and who's really going to come out on top. I mean, if I come away with 2-1 there, I'm going to be extremely happy because that's a very tough block of opponents in your own division. Like, that's not spread out. So I'm really excited to see that block happen.
Yeah, that's going to be a good run there. And, we'll obviously, we got 3 games still after that. You said 13, 14, 15?
It was 12, 13, 14, I believe.
Okay. So still got 3 games after that. I mean, obviously that'll be a big factor, but yeah, that'll be a good run for the Ravens. And they're also premiering their season on Monday Night Football, I believe, against the Raiders. So that'll be a good show.
That should be an easy game.
Let's see. A couple of revenge game spots here. We got week 1, Jets versus the Panthers. Darnold revenge game versus the Jets. Who do you got in that one? Panthers or Jets week 1?
Panthers. They're still the more complete team. I mean, you're getting Christian McCaffrey back for the whole year. And it blows my mind. I mean, I'm not – and I get why this is, 2 young teams who are trying to put it together. But the fact that we have like a Sam Darnold Bowl this year blows my mind. Like, this man is is he – maybe a little bit better than Trubisky? I mean, imagine if we had a Trubisky Bowl this year.
Oh, if Allen got hurt?
Yeah. I just think this is crazy that this has been one of the more highly touted matchups of, when they dropped the schedules. This was one that really kind of made waves. I know we also get a Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow on a Thursday night, I think. That's a good one I'm really looking forward to.
We're looking at that.
This 17 games throws a loop in everything. I mean, like somewhat to Nick said, like you're seeing like teams play Browns by Browns or something, weird like that. So it's throwing you for a loop.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Obviously, also with props and betting alike, it adds just another layer to fantasy and the NFL in general. Another big revenge game that I like, it's double revenge games. Week 7, the Lions at the Rams, Goff and Stafford revenge games. Who would you take in that one? Just assuming everyone would be healthy. Obviously, they probably won't be, but who do you like there? Still the Rams?
Yeah. I think the Rams are just with Stafford. It's tough for me to find a weakness in their team. I mean, they were complete last year with Goff. Their defense was, I know, is top 5, but they were an elite defense. And I think with Stafford, he adds that next step. And you're going to get like, he's going to try his hardest at maximum output from him because he knows that he has a chance to win the championship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm really looking forward to that one. I've got shares of both Goff and Stafford in Dynasty, so I'm going to be looking forward to that one, see how that goes off. See what else we have here. Christmas. Merry Christmas, fellas. We got Christmas Day games. We got Browns at the Packers plus the Colts at the Cardinals. We get to gamble on Christmas. It's going to be great. It won't be basketball. Obviously, we always get basketball on Christmas, but I'm pretty excited about that. You guys in for it, or you think they should have the day off?
Man, they got to start taking some holidays off. I mean, Thanksgiving has kind of been like a big thing for years. I mean, since we've been really young. It's always exciting to watch football on Thanksgiving, but man, Christmas, it's kind of like the NBA day for me, because there's always those NBA games. But if we get football, it's going to be just really splitting viewers and revenue and stuff because people are accustomed to NBA and now the NFL is there. We'll see, how it works out. But it's always good to have sports sometimes when you have, all day to just sit there and just watch TV.
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty excited about it. We're going to move on here to some of our other topics, just going into some recent news. But before we do, we got Trey in the chat asking for redraft, half PPR, Najee Harris or Antonio Gibson. Also, Miles Sanders or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Where are you guys at with those two? We'll start with Steve.
Honestly, out of those, Najee Harris is kind of the one for me where I just don't know. I have a few question marks about that offensive line. I am an Antonio Gibson truther, though. I've been on him since last year. Last week I touched on it. I mean, you see how Ron Rivera uses his running backs, and Gibson's a very special talent who's very well-rounded. So I think if I had to go out of those two, I'm going to go Gibson until I see more of Najee Harris. Unfortunately, in a redraft, you're not going to be able to see that, before. You're going to have to make that decision. Miles Sanders or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that's tough because I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a cleaner role to run. I don't think people are vying for his job, but I think I'm going to have to – I would still go Miles Sanders just because of he's that kind of more three-down running back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Nick?
I'm going to believe in Najee Harris this year. Antonio Gibson, he did have a great season for the Washington football team. But the one thing that I didn't like was J.D. McKissick getting like 10 to 12 receptions a game. That really takes away from production for Antonio Gibson. I think Najee Harris is going to be a three-down back, and the other running backs are going to be used to spell him. And then the other one, Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm going to go Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he made me eat my words pretty early on. I thought he wasn't going to, he wasn't exactly like a weapon like Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill was, but he was there and he was getting a good amount of play. I'm going to say that Clyde Edwards-Helaire takes a step forward this year and makes that backfield his room to have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do believe that Clyde Edwards-Helaire will take a step forward. Am I going to draft him in the first round this year? Probably not. I think he's going to be like at that. Yeah, I think he's going to be more valuable to any drafters at the end of the second, beginning of the third, kind of somewhere in that space. After you've gotten a player or two that you can kind of build your fantasy team in front of him. But I will take him over Miles Sanders. I think that Kenneth Gainwell is going to be a thorn in his side. To me, Kenneth Gainwell, just like his body of work in college, the way I see him being used is similar to kind of like an Austin Eckler. I really feel like that's a good comp for him. And I feel like he's going to be used a lot in that offense because they're just lacking so many receiving weapons. So I'm going to go Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Miles Sanders, but I'm an Antonio Gibson guy. Nick will tell you straight up, I called him the next Matt Forte. I was banging that drum all day last year. So I'm gonna go with Gibson. Steve pointed out how Rivera uses his running backs very efficiently. He was just that guy, and I think McKissick won't be leaned on as much because they're gonna have a quarterback at the helm that doesn't need to dink and dunk to the running back every other possession because he literally can't deliver it anywhere else on the field. So I'm gonna go Gibson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Thanks for dropping that in there, Trey. Really appreciate you, sir. Let's move on to some recent news. But before we do, if you haven't already, be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on YouTube.com/Take It to the Hizzy. Let's go. All right, first up we got here. We're going through recent news. Been off since last Sunday. We got to get into Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow getting signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, bringing him in as a tight end. First off, does Tebow make it out of training camp? And if so, if he's actually on this roster to start the year, where are you evaluating him in fantasy? Where are you going to draft him, or are you just going to completely stay away? We'll start with Steve and go around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can put any fantasy value in Tim Tebow. Maybe let him see after week 1, week 2. Maybe if you want to throw a dart, don't waste a pick on him. I saw there was a video on Twitter of I think it was Mark Sanchez. Were they ever on the same team together on the Jets? I believe that's whoever the quarterback was for the Jets. And Tebow ran a route, and it literally just smoked him in the face. This is going to be an experiment, but I believe in Urban Meyer. I think he will be able to use him in some form or fashion. I mean, Sean Payton, before he signed Taysom Hill, he offered that job and that role that Taysom Hill does for the Saints. He offered that to Tebow. So, I mean, there's something there. I don't think everyone acting like he's washed. He's always been an elite athlete. He will still be that. I don't know what his hands are going to be like.
Right.
I think that he does make the team, but he's going to be tight end, part chaplain of the team. He's going to be used more for like motivation. I swear, how can you be out of the NFL for like almost 10 years and still like get a job like that? Like, I understand he's been playing minor league baseball, but you know, very different physically needing sports. And he didn't even do very well there. I think that he does have like a role, but he is literally going to definitely be someone on the waiver wire when you're done your draft. If you want to take a shot on him, you can. He might give you like a crazy game or two where he has like a weird stat line, like one pass for 50 yards for a touchdown, 3 rushes for 25 yards, a touchdown. Like, it's just going to be weird, but he's going to get you points. I do see him having like a Taysom Hill role. But Urban Meyer loves the guy. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. This is definitely who you know in football. And Urban Myers is like, if I'm going to go to the NFL, Tim Tebow is going to be my main motivator. So I think that that's what he's going to be, and that's about it. He's just a gimmick. Yeah. That's all he is.
Yeah. I hear that, and I'm just not going to take a stand on this guy. Like, I'm not going to pick him in fantasy. I'm not going to make any moves for him. But just take to Twitter. You'll see people posting, "Oh, I just got Tebow here. Oh, I just made this move for Tebow." Like, I just don't feel the need to get that involved. There's so many other tight ends out there. They're going to be just as valuable, if not more valuable. I'll just throw it to you like this: like, would you guys take like Chris Herndon, C.J. Uzomah, or Tim Tebow at tight end?
Uzomah.
Okay.
I'll roll with no tight end if those are my 3 choices. I'll just go with no tight end.
Some people don't use a kicker. Steve's not using the tight end.
I think maybe I take Herndon out of those. I don't know. Maybe Uzomah actually. I would. So in a similar vein though, OJ Howard. I think you'd take OJ Howard, but he also gets. I mean, like, he has no role in that offense. So it kind of, I think Tebow might see maybe just as many snaps as OJ Howard.
Yeah, I mean, the Taysom Hill comps, they've been probably the most consistent. You guys kind of brought it up, like how all the different ways they could potentially use him just because, he works so hard. Oh, he's always on tape. Oh, he just knows the ins and outs of the playbook and everything like that. Like, yeah, that's fun. But, I want guys that just have just much bigger ceilings, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities at the back end of your drafts. Now, if you're in, 25 plus round drafts and dynasty and things like that, and, you just completely fade the position, maybe there's some opportunity for you there, but it's not a long-term option by any means. And the second that he does something, I would be trying to flip him. The second he catches a touchdown, I'm going to try to make a trade offer for him. Like, I'm going to try to trade him off my team. I'm going to sell him as not even at his high. I'm going to sell him as he's getting or climbing up to be a high option. So, yeah, I don't like him down there. I think it's just it's a gimmick, kind of like what Nick said. We're going to sell some jerseys. We're going to put some asses in the seats. We've got the Lawrence, the ETN. Now we've got Tebow. Like, they're going to sell some jerseys and sell some tickets down there in Jacksonville. So they're going to be pretty excited.
There's a reason why he's going down to Jacksonville, because it's literally right down the street from Gainesville, and it's just like easy, like, to get those Tebow people that are like, oh my gosh, he was so great with the Gators, which he was. It was really cool what he did, but the NFL is a very different game, and they're going to see how their kind of savior is not exactly NFL material.
I agree. All right, let's move over to the Packers. We've got Goont Koost running his mouth. He's saying, "Oh, we love Jordan Love, right?" But he's got a long way to go. I don't get all this conflicting information. They're signing Blake Bortles. They're looking at like the third string guy from, I think, Atlanta. They're going to sign him too. Like, it feels like they're gearing up to move Rodgers, but then Matt LaFleur comes out and says, "Hey, we're trying to keep this guy on our team in the worst way possible." I don't understand all the media and all the information coming out of Green Bay right now. How does this play into Rodgers, like, staying or leaving? All this talk. Like, do you think that they're just trying to, like, back down from the Jordan Love talk? Because it doesn't sound like they're going to get a trade offer in place, which is weird to me, because it seems like the Denver Broncos were willing to give up the whole house just to get him, and now they're just being really timid about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. First off, I am one of the biggest Blake Bortles fans probably on the face of the earth. I know he's garbage, but he's the coolest guy. Coolest NFL back. He bought an electric car so he didn't dip anymore. And then he just started driving his car to the gas station to buy the dip. Like literally, he bought an electric car so he didn't have to get gas. And then it's still, he is the man. Blake Bortles, crazy to think he was the highest drafted of Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. Blake Bortles was, I think, the 5th pick in that draft. So I think the writing is on the wall. Like, Aaron Rodgers is probably not taking a snap there. I think Aaron Rodgers is such an intelligent guy where he would not put out all this information just because he wants, let's say, a bigger say in who they get on the offense. I think he really is doing this because he's going to get out. Where that might be, I mean, all signs are kind of pointing to the Broncos. But, I mean, are you going to – I don't know if I want either of those two people to start for me, though, Bortles or Jordan Love. Like, just too soon for Love. And if he was your 3rd-string quarterback like last year, it's going to be tough to see him.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I don't get is he wasn't even dressing for games last year.
Oh, wow.
They say they love him as a development quarterback. Oh, we love and we're excited about what he could be and what he could bring to this team in the future, but he's not ready right now. But why then are you not allowing other teams, or maybe they're not allowing, but you're telling teams that, hey, you don't need to trade us a quarterback to get Aaron Rodgers. We'll take something else. Like I just don't understand what's going through Matt LaFleur's head, and I feel like both sides are just playing the worst game of chicken ever. Nick, is there anything that the Packers can do trade-wise, signing-wise, to keep Rodgers in Green Bay?
I mean, I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger. I think it's because the way, like, it almost seems like they're all trying to save each other's asses for when Rodgers leaves. They're like, oh, I'm not going to be part of the fallout. Like, that's why Matt LaFleur is like, we want him in the worst kind of way. Of course he does, because he's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Because he's the reigning MVP.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I completely understand why the coach wants him, but then the GM, on the other hand, is really like, oh yeah, we love Jordan Love, but he's got a long way to go. Dude, you're not the one that has to develop the guy. He wasn't dressing last year. I think that the GM got his bluff called, and now he's scrambling to figure out what he can do. He's trying to have a plan in place, but ain't nobody giving up a starting caliber quarterback for whatever he wants. I don't know what he wants. He should have taken Denver's deal or even San Francisco's deal. Shit. Like, I don't understand why he didn't, and now he's going to die on this hill. He's going to die on this hill.
Week 4, the Packers are playing in San Francisco, I think. I don't know if they knew about the schedule ahead of time, but they may have known that they were playing that division. So that may have played a role. Trade him after then.
Trade him after then.
Yeah, exactly. But that would be wild.
You lost out on draft picks, and that's what I don't understand about some NFL teams. Like, Washington was almost like notorious for this. Like, they had some guys that were able to be moved for draft picks, and they refused to do it. Like, why? Like, I don't understand. If you're so stuck on, like, Kirk Cousins, why didn't you trade him? You gave him 2 franchise tags. And, like, with Rodgers, they're literally going to let him retire and be like, if you're not going to play here, you're not playing anywhere in the NFL. Okay, Aaron doesn't really have anything to prove. He's already had his NFL career. This is overtime for him right now, you know. I just think that the GM is going to die on this hill, and whatever happens, whatever fallout happens, he's not going to be the GM of the Packers much longer because you just, like, pissed off one of the top quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't want to play for you anymore, and that's the problem. Either you're gone or he's gone, and you are forcing him to be gone.
Just imagine if they drafted Justin Jefferson last year in the first round. The type of conversation we'd be having about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers for this year. Like, he won the MVP without any of those guys. And back to Guntkus, like, I just don't know what he expects is going to be the future of this team without Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams already said, like, I'm going to need to be reevaluating my situation here if Aaron isn't here. You think Aaron Jones isn't going to be doing the exact same thing? You know, so it's a real sloppy mess over there. I hope they get it figured out. I already own Aaron Rodgers in Dynasty, and to be perfectly honest with you, as an owner, like, just, someone who already has him as an asset in fantasy, I kind of want him to stay. Because I just know what I'm going to get, right? Like, he's just going to go out there. He's not going to, like, lay on the ground and just, like, not compete, not put his best product on the field, but when he goes somewhere else and you're learning a new system, maybe there's even an opportunity to land somewhere with, less desirable targets or running backs or whatever it is, or a worse offensive line. That's going to, I'm going to lose a little bit more sleep at night. I'm going to be a little bit more worried. So, but we'll see what we get here. We got a long way to go before week 1. So I expect some more fireworks out of that media circle of Green Bay. But let's move on here. The Colts have signed tackle Eric Fisher for a 1-year, $9.4 million contract. It looks like he's probably going to miss the first month for sure, probably. Yeah. Could miss, a little bit of the second month, but I think it's a huge grab for the Colts, who already have a great offensive line. What does this do for your value or evaluation, I should say, for Taylor? And what are your expectations for Wentz going forward this year? We'll start with Nick and come up to Steve.
So for Taylor, I have very high hopes for Taylor. I mean, I see him going very high in drafts. I was very impressed on how, once it was noted he had vision issues, he kind of corrected that and then took a huge step forward. I was very happy with his performance. I would love to get a share of him. With Wentz, though, I don't know, man. I feel like he's kind of overrated, and he's going to Frank Wright. Yes, he's going into a new environment. Yes, an environment that actually wants him. But I feel like he's pretty fragile mentally and physically, and I feel like this team is almost Jonathan Taylor's team to lead. I feel like Wentz, there's a possibility he could get hurt later in the season, especially with one more game on the line to get to the playoffs. And I think Jonathan Taylor can actually handle the load. I think Taylor's going to be kind of like an Edge James kind of thing for the Colts coming up, and I'm pretty excited for that. So positive on Jonathan Taylor, neutral on Wentz because I'm already pretty low on him.
Okay. What do you think, Steve?
I love this for the Colts. I mean, they're the team that run the damn ball, They just pound the rock. They grind away at it. I'm not sold 100% on Jonathan Taylor. I do think he can be in a complete back, pass catching, running between the tackles, running outside the numbers. He can do it. And I just need to see more of it. Marlon Mack, I'm a huge Marlon Mack truther, and it's sad that we see him get hurt in just devastating ways, and this man lost his complete job now. So that's one thing I would love to see him run behind this offensive line. Carson Wentz, I don't think I have a take one way or another. I think he's in a good opportunity to be better. He has to make the most of that opportunity. We can't have Carson Wentz, who came out last year and was fumbling the ball left and right. You need him to be, if he makes the most of this, I'd say, I don't know if we get MVP Carson Wentz back, but we probably see a top 16 quarterback in the league.
No, top 16 and single quarterback, you're probably going to be staying away, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
waiver, maybe if you're kind of doing something where you pick, you're just really running low on the quarterback position, but I wouldn't advise to do that.
I'd still take a flyer on him. The offense is going to be looking pretty good. He's got T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal, guys that we were all talking up last year. They could get involved maybe for Zach Ertz. I've been hearing that name getting floated around quite a bit for Indy, just to bring him a very familiar target. And obviously, you're getting a much better offensive line. Like you had mentioned, oh, yeah, he's fumbling all over the place. You look back to, what was it, week 1 up against the football team last year. I think it was 8 sacks, Nick? Something like that. 8 sacks allowed. It was wild. He was running for his life. And you could literally see the linemen down the field just standing there with their hands on their hips being like, hey, fall down, don't get hurt, please. We'd still like a quarterback. You just didn't really see that urgency from them last year. They still have Jack Doyle and Mo Alley-Cox. I just feel like Frank Reich is going to get him up a level. I agree with you, Steve. I don't know if it's at an MVP level, but I do believe it's going to be much better than last year. And there were at times that he was actually, kind of useful last year in fantasy. It was very sparingly on week by week basis, but I feel like we're going to get a much, much better version of Carson Wentz this year. Fisher will come into the fold, like I said, probably about week 5 through week 8, I believe he's going to start, actually playing in games because he is coming in hurt. But they gave the man a lot of money, so they're paying him to play. I think he's going to make a big difference on that offensive line and, really leverage the upside for Taylor and Wentz, moving through the middle part of the season. So, I feel like that could be a nice little time to buy low on him, right? If we get kind of a slow start and he's going to get another guy like Fisher back on that line, buying that little bit of extra time, he might be someone people are targeting in fantasy to trade for, and anywhere in that range, like I said, weeks 5 through 7 or 8. So. But let's move on here. We're looking at Julio Jones still being on the market. I believe I know Emron spoke about it last week or the week before about there being a specific date where, there's a big chunk of change coming off the books. Do either of you know which date that is?
I think it's like June 2nd. Yeah, June 2nd or 5th, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so kind of segueing with the Colts as well. The Colts have been named as a potential landing spot for Julio. Would you like that? Would you prefer it, or are there some other landing spots you might have in mind for him? We'll go with Steve and back around to Nick.
If Julio Jones goes to the Colts, I'm probably going to be saying that I'm back on the Carson Wentz train. I just don't really see him moving from there. Why do you move? It's very Aaron Rodgers-esque. Why are you moving this generational talent? We all know that, and I get it, but if they were really going to rebuild, you don't add Kyle Pitts with that number 4 pick. You add a quarterback to back up Matt Ryan for 2-3 years, whatever it may be. And Trey Lance would have been perfect. Was he? Yeah. Was he still? No, he was off the board by that point. But you still add who you got there. Justin Fields would have been perfect. Georgia guy, everything. I just don't buy this. I think with Kyle Pitts, Ridley, and Julio Jones, you might have one of the best receiving corps in football. I don't think that's too crazy to say. So I don't buy into all of the Julio Jones is leaving just based off some other moves that they made this year. But if he would go to Indy, that'd be great for them because they lack that. I love Michael Pittman. T.Y. is just not that guy anymore. They'd have a superstar out there to help their offense.
Oh, absolutely. No other landing spots that you like?
If I had to maybe throw a dart at somebody, I don't know. They got Galladay. I was going to say maybe you see him on one of these New York teams. Jets probably just aren't there.
Right.
Maybe if you see Rivera, he matched up against Julio Jones enough. He knows how much of a difference maker he is. Maybe you see the football team make a move for him, pair him with Scary Terry.
Oh, and Curtis Samuel.
Samuel, yeah, you'd have something.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what do you think, Nick?
Sorry, what was the original question? Because I was listening to what Steve was saying.
Julio going to Indy and any other landing spots.
Okay, so Julio going to Indy, that would bring Indy more into contention. But I honestly don't see what differently Carson Wentz offers besides more that he offers than Rivers besides mobility. It would be cool to see Julio go there, but that means that one of their younger guys would have to be knocked a notch down. Sure. One spot out of the, throwing a dart somewhere. Man, if he ended up in Green Bay, I think Aaron Rodgers would definitely really consider rethinking about what he's doing and be like, I don't know. This is kind of interesting. This is the help that I've been begging for. That would be a great landing spot. But a lot of teams in the NFL, they kind of already either have guys coming up that they want to see more of, or they already have their established star. Julio is an established star. It's just that he just couldn't seem to score touchdowns sometimes. But he's still a legitimate guy. Like, I would love to have Julio Jones on any team in the NFL. If we didn't get Rashad Bateman, Baltimore would have been a great spot, but you would have to give a lot of what you're actually using to have him on the team, and that wasn't kind of like a good move. But Green Bay would be a great shot in the dark for a potential landing spot. I just think that they're trying to put anybody to Julio Jones just to keep those trade talks, hot, so that when that time comes, they have something to talk about, like the media.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I would love Green Bay as a landing spot for him. That would be perfect for my Aaron Rodgers shares. But I'm going to throw one out there. I'm going to throw out Las Vegas Raiders, who are really, in my opinion, in need of that true number one guy. Like if you look at the Colts, they have, a lot of guys are kind of like, the Robin, a number two, right? They're not a true number one. I mentioned T.Y. Paris Campbell maybe could be that guy at some point, but the man just can't stay healthy, right? I know that all of us really like Michael Pittman, but again, like he just doesn't pop off the field like he's going to be that true number one guy. So I think Julio, that would be a good fit for him for sure, because he would get overloaded with targets. Wentz would be throwing a lot of darts down the field. Wentz has still got a good arm. He's got a better downfield arm than Rivers, in my opinion, right now. But I would love the Raiders. I feel like Derek Carr and Julio Jones would be a great connection for the 2021 season. I don't know where the Raiders are at as far as like cap issues or things like that, but I know that they don't have big stars that are just, weighing down the cap. So I would really like to see him in Vegas. It would also get him out of the conference. The teams that we just named are mostly in the NFC. So I feel like that would be another plus for the Falcons. And realistically, at the end of the day, like it's just a business decision. Like, yeah, he's been that generational guy for them. He's been great, but he hasn't won any Super Bowls. And now he's just carrying a ton of cap at the age of 32. So like I feel like the Falcons kind of need to make this move to move to the future, and maybe they can get another wide receiver back. Or we just see Calvin Ridley just take off even more than he has in recent years. Or we see Kyle Pitts just be everything that we thought he was going to be, because they still have a Hayden Hurst there. And every single person before this draft, he's not just a tight end, he's a receiver. You don't even know he can do everything. You can line him up everywhere. Okay, cool. So if that's the case, then maybe they can move on from Julio Jones, and they can move Kyle Pitts everywhere in motion, inside, outside the numbers, whatever it is, and they can really leverage that fourth overall pick that they spent on him, right? So I don't hate it. I feel like Julio would also be good in black in the Raiders, but I feel like his time is dwindling in Atlanta. So I'm still all over him though in fantasy. Like I was telling you guys before the show, I took him in the 4th round of a 20-round Empire League. This is a type of league you have to win back-to-back years to win one championship. The first team to do that will, and that's kind of like a dynasty format, right? So getting him in the 4th round, still at 32, like I didn't hate it. He, for 20 teams, 4th round, I'll take him all day. And really, I was just kind of buying into, hey, this guy could get moved. He could be in a much better situation. Because where I like Matt Ryan, I kind of like Carson Wentz and Derek Carr a little bit more. That's just where I'm at with, I feel like Matt Ryan could be on the move too. He's kind of just one of those older guys just weighing down the cap. But let's move on here. We're actually going to stay in Atlanta. We got Mike Davis. Says the door is wide open from Desmond Kitchens, the RB coach, for him to just be the guy. Like just be the number one all year long. Are you guys going to be buying Mike Davis in fantasy anywhere? Redraft, dynasty, anything?
I would take a shot on him. Is Todd Gurley actually still signed there?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. So if he's out, then there's no reason for anyone else to be there. I mean, honestly, all those top guys from last year are gone from the running back room. So Mike Davis, he did very well in Carolina in place of Christian McCaffrey. It is going to be a different offense. It's probably going to be a little bit more high flying, but I'd still take some shares on him because I think that he is at least a legitimate starting running back in this league. I wouldn't say like top 5, but maybe like top 10, top 12, I would say. And he can last the season, What
do you think, Steve?
So I like Mike Davis, what he was able to do last year. I do say fantasy owners proceed with caution because what that Panthers offense is, it's built for Christian McCaffrey. So when he leaves, whoever was filling in that spot, whether it be Mike Davis, whoever, Curtis Samuel, even they were going to look good because Joe Brady's a wizard, and that was built for him. Falcons running backs, we've seen this year after year. Even Gurley, he got touchdowns when he was there, but they're just not too effective. Matt Ryan is going to, he's going to sling the rock, and you have Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Now you have Kyle Pitts thrown in there, and Hayden Hurst also is going to be in there. I just think that that's more of like a West Coast team, and they pass the ball. I do have some shares on Mike Davis, but it's also not like he's like a young running back. He kind of had a late renaissance, and so I'd say proceed with caution. You want any starting running back you can get, just temper your expectations.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like a big name in zero RB strategies. You know, when teams are just going really heavy with quarterbacks and wide receivers to start their draft, he's going to be a big name that pops up into that space. But I'm not really a zero RB type of guy. You know, I really just don't like the opportunity. For me, he's a fade this season. If I was going to take a shot on somebody in the Atlanta running back room, I'd take Javian Hawkins. Like even in a redraft league, like I feel like he has the opportunity or one of the better opportunities as far as rookie running backs go to just to take the reins and, you know, be that lead guy. And he speaks to me a little bit more as like a pass catcher out of the backfield. And was it Kadri? Is that how you pronounce his name? Kadri Olison? He seems good. Like he's going to be the goal line guy. The guy that's getting the touches in the 5 on in, right? So Mike Davis will be a nice piece up and down the field, but I feel like he gets pulled in the red zone, and I feel like Javian Hawkins is just kind of lurking in the corners, just kind of waiting for an opportunity to take that job from him. What he put on the field last year was awesome for the Panthers, but just Steve, you're 1,000% correct. It was just system oriented, and we didn't see Atlanta using the running back similar to how Mike Davis was used last year in Carolina. So he's just a guy to, get the 3 to 4 yards, and then we're passing on second and third down. Like that to me is just going to be their scheme going forward. I don't love him in fantasy. I'm going to stay away. I feel like he's going to be kind of a ticking time bomb, and I don't want to reach for him.
No love for Cordero Patterson. Come on. Bears legend.
He's going to be – how about them Bears? Yeah, I mean, like he's going to get used as a receiver, running back. He's going to kind of have that Curtis Samuel role. I don't like him as a running back. I don't even know why he's still lined up as a running back on these depth charts. It's
that's a guy who will also take some goal line carries, I feel like, away from Mike Davis just because he's a big body and he can, on a stretch play, he can get it done for you. And so I think you got to worry about him vulturing some plays because every coach wants to get him weirdly involved.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on. We got some Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater news. Vic Fangio is saying that right now the option is 50-50. It's a coin flip. Who is going to be the starter for week 1? Plant your flag, guys. We'll go with Nick first. Who's your week 1 starter for the Broncos?
Aaron Rodgers.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I was even about to say we'll put it 3 ways, 33% with Rodgers. So you say they get it done, Nick. They're going to get the deal done.
It's actually 50-50. 50% Aaron Rodgers and 50% Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. And
gotcha.
They don't get Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, they need a quarterback, and they have 2 guys that, have potential to be a quarterback, but they haven't exactly reached it. I think they're just trying to wait out and see what happens with the Aaron Rodgers situation. If any of the 2, I'm going to say Teddy Bridgewater just because he has a little bit more experience in the NFL. Drew Lock is extremely streaky, and they need to start getting a little bit more consistency from all their weapons. And I think Teddy Bridgewater will at least bring out a little bit of stability from them.
Okay. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nick hit it right there. Aaron Rodgers is who I assume is going to be starting for the Broncos. I am also I will admit I'm a Drew Lock hater. His touchdown interception was damn near a 1-to-1 last year. That's terrible. That's not going to get you anything. I mean, we rag on, and I always use him as like my benchmark, I feel like, when I'm on the show. But we rag on Mitch Trubisky. And literally, Drew Lock is not much different from him. At times, actually, Drew Lock is a worse quarterback, but he has a defense that carries him, things like that. So I think also what Nick said was the consistency that Teddy Bridgewater gives you, that's what you want in your offense. You can't have ebbs and flows the entire time. If you can keep it at a 5 out of 10 consistently rather than being a 7 and then down to a 2, that's what Vic Fangio's looking for. They don't need a guy who's going to be anything special with the defense that they have. So I think if I had to pick quarterbacks on the roster, I'm going to go Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll just clear it up here. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the guy if it's not Aaron Rodgers, right? And I think everything you guys said alluded to why he will be that week 1 starter. He's just more consistent. The thing that he's not consistent at is staying healthy. So I think it's a good situation for the Broncos because maybe Locke will learn something. Maybe he comes in, he doesn't have to be thrusted to the coals like he was when he came in, and he can just sit back a little bit and learn a little bit more. And Locke too, he's also had issues staying healthy. So honestly, we could see a situation where if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, that I don't even know who the third quarterback is or who they drafted behind him. But I mean, both those guys have injury histories. They've had a hard time staying on the field. I don't believe Drew Lock has finished a full season in either of his years in the league. And when was the last time Teddy Bridgewater filled out all 16 games, right? So you could see a situation like that where, some no-namer is coming in, or I don't know, someone gets COVID and we need a wide receiver to play quarterback that week. Between the two, I'm going to go with Bridgewater. Like you guys said, he's just more consistent. I think he gives the offense a lot more upside. I think he gives a little bit more confidence in the huddle, right? The guys are going to be looking at him as more of a veteran, and they might just believe in him a little bit more than Locke, to start out the year. So I'm going to go with Bridgewater. I wouldn't hate if Aaron Rodgers was the week 1 starter either. So I would be feeling good about that new landing spot for him as a Rodgers owner.
If Bridgewater and Drew Lock both get hurt, I see Brock Osweiler coming from backstage to save the day. Like, hey, we need somebody.
Yeah. That's the theme this year, right? Just everybody rising, from the dead. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe even Kaepernick can make it a run this year. Everybody's doing it, which is a nice segue into Kelvin Benjamin. Kelvin Benjamin is trying out with the Giants, and Kelvin Benjamin, he's coming along in life. He's no longer a wide receiver. He's accepted his body size is built for a tight end. When I saw this news article pop up, I just started laughing out loud. Like, my wife was looking at me like, "What the hell? What are you doing over there? Like, why are you just laughing at your screen?" And I'm just like, "Well, this guy that works at Popeyes is getting an opportunity to play in the NFL." And the show sheet, it says LMAO. Does Benjamin make the roster? So I'll just leave it at that. Can Kelvin Benjamin make the New York Football Giants team this year as a tight end?
No. I think this is almost like the new running back to fullback situation. Like, when the running backs aged out or got too big, they became a fullback. Now it's wide receivers becoming tight ends. Kelvin Benjamin, this is like his last shot to show, that he has like a work ethic to be an NFL player. But since he's played football, he hasn't had exactly the star athlete work ethic. I think he's just trying to, cash a paycheck or two. And maybe he can do it. They're kind of tired of Evan Ingram dropping some passes, so they want a wide receiver turn tight end to, shore that up a little bit. But Kelvin Benjamin is not the guy. I don't see him making any kind of impact. I don't even see him making the roster. So this is just like a story for the offseason.
Could you imagine the look on Evan Ingram's face when Kelvin Benjamin walked in the room? What the hell? They brought who?
Hey, man, the wide receiver room is just down that way.
I need to figure my shit. He's like, I need to figure my shit out quick. Like, they're bringing in Kelvin Benjamin to compete with me. What the hell? What do you think, Steve? Do they need to get like Popeyes on the property to keep them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If the viewers could see the show sheet, like, usually it gives you like some direction on like how we're going to talk about it. I love how this just said LMAO. Does he make the roster? Like, it was like literally just the biggest just slap in the face, because it's Kelvin Benjamin. We've seen he ate his way out of football. And the one thing I'd say, I'm going to go, this might be a bold take, but I think he makes the roster. Gettleman drafted him when he was down in Carolina. He's got a weird soft spot for this guy, and this is all about the year of the comebacks. I mean, Brett Favre is strapping up soon. Yeah, exactly. Stop. I mean, like, I really do think Kelvin Benjamin, maybe this move to tight end is what's going to do him right. I don't know. This is interesting.
I don't know. I'm going to say that he –
Gettleman's just trying to validate his draft pick in Carolina. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to give it a second shot. He's like, oh, no, I got the right coach this time. Little do you know, Ron Rivera was his coach before. Like, if Ron Rivera can't get shit out of Benjamin, then who will? Like, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, the dude just never had a work ethic. He's always got a bad attitude. And like you guys said, he's eating his way out of football. Like him, Jamarcus Russell, and Eddie Lacy on the all-eat team. Like, I just don't see it happening.
That was the A squad at the buffet.
Yeah, right.
the Golden Corral best customers.
Got their punch cards. All right. So I think we've actually brought this topic up on like 3 weeks running. So it might just be like a weekly cornerstone of the show. We got a couple of Bears fans on here, but we got to go with the weekly ask. Will Justin Fields be the week 1 starter? Getting a lot of media hype around him saying that, oh, he's going to compete. He's going to be ready. I'm going to keep myself sharp. I'm going to keep going. We're talking up the flashcards about learning the playbook like that, getting going and mini camp and everything. Obviously, none of us are on Andy Dalton. None of us are on Nick Foles. So, again, I ask you, will Justin Fields be the week 1 starter? And we'll go with Nick first.
Yeah, I think so. I've been seeing, Fields talk a little bit, and he's like, I expect myself to be a franchise quarterback. He didn't exactly seem too happy to go to Chicago. I think he was hoping for a little bit more, not saying Chicago isn't bright lights, but a little bit more bright light city for him. I think he's going to come in and try and work, and he kind of has like an easy path, to be the starter. Only got to beat out Nick Foles, who no one in the NFL wanted. I mean, that's surprising considering Tebow just got a job. And then, Dalton, he's not he's serviceable, but he's a great backup. He's a perfect backup. I think he's going to be great for Fields, but it kind of blows that he was told, yeah, you're going to be the starter, and then Fields is drafted. So I'm going to say Fields is definitely going to be the starter.
What do you got, Steve? I know Nick's in between 2 Bears fans here.
Yeah, this is obviously something I follow very, very closely just because I was also an Ohio State fan. That's where Fields went. So first off, some of the throws he made at Ohio State were some of the best throws made in college football last year. And he is an immense talent that I just don't know how you sit him behind Dalton. I've read some things where they talked about, I believe it was Rex they were talking about when he was in camp. He saw some issues he had with his arm. Then when they talked about Trubisky had trouble working under center. There's been none of that with Justin Fields. They say that there's no bad habits that he really has that's setting him, pushing him back down the depth chart. I think this is going to be something also very Russell Wilson-esque, where when he was drafted, no one thought he was going to start week 1, but he did. I mean, they started.
We played week 1?
Probably the Bears.
It was the Packers, and he beat Aaron Rodgers in that game with a game-winning drive as a rookie.
Yeah. Hey, now let's hope that can be Justin Fields, because I'd love to see that, and I just think, how do you sit this guy behind Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton, like you said, is if he gets hurt, or I guess one of my biggest worries is once you start Justin Fields, he's your starter. You can't back off that. Week 1, if you start him, you can't go week 2. Okay, he wasn't ready. We can't start him. That's just not how that really works. So I won't be pissed if I see Andy Dalton go out week 1, but I want to see Justin Fields. He's our future. We just invested whatever we invested in him. We need to have this guy go out and be the starter. So give him the shot. Right.
Yeah, I don't think that the Bears are going to name him the starter until literally like the week of week 1, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they're going to start turning this into, now it's a competition talk. And I think that they're just going to hold their cards really close because they're playing the Rams week 1 on the road. If you want to fade week 1, then go ahead and start Andy Dalton. But if we're trying to win this division week 1 through week 17, Fields needs to be on the field. He needs to be our guy because, the first 3 games, you got Rams, Bengals, and Browns. If you bring him in at halftime up against the Rams and then he finishes out that game regardless of the score, and then you play him all against the Bengals, he's going to look a lot better. Right? Andy Dalton could look good up against the Bengals in week 2, a little revenge game opportunity, but who gives a shit? Who cares about Andy Dalton and versus the Bengals or Andy Dalton's revenge, right? The Bears, they're in this situation right now because they need to win now. They have a championship defense. That product is available to them. They just need the offense. And we've seen them overly invest in the offense. They added, Damian Williams at receiver, Damian Williams at running back, Damiere Byrd at wide receiver, Marquise Goodwin at wide receiver. They have a lot of receivers. They have a fair amount of running backs too with Cohen, Williams, Montgomery. They even drafted Khalil Herbert. They doubled down on the O-line with Taven Jenkins. So we have all the pieces that we need. if Fields even goes out and has a bad performance in Los Angeles, who cares? He's a rookie. Who cares? Just give him the reps, give him the opportunity. I don't know what's going to go on in preseason, which I'm more concerned about. Like, is Foles going to play the entire preseason?
I think you got to think Justin Fields sees a little bit of action just to get him acclimated with NFL type looks, get him reading coverages, things like that. This exact thought popped into my head earlier this week. It's funny you mentioned this because okay, does Andy Dalton play time in preseason? Are we saying Andy Dalton's good enough to not play any preseason? Because if that's the case, I'm out. I think he needs to take just as many reps as Nick and just as many reps as Justin Fields needs to take because I'm not sold on him. But this exact thought crossed my mind, and I don't know how you approach that. I don't because usually your starting quarterback, you're not going to roll out there too often, and I'm very curious about this. And I think maybe that's going to be a big tell for Bears fans. Notice how they're running them out there in preseason, and you might know who's going to be your week 1 starter.
If I was Nagy, and I'm not, because I would have won a Super Bowl already.
3rd and 12 screenplay.
I would start Dalton first quarter, Fields second quarter, and Foles in the back halves.
Yeah. Fair.
Because if you throw one guy out there for a series and that's it, then we already know that's your guy. Okay, that's who they're protecting. Fields came out, he played one series, he's done. Now Dalton and Foles, play the rest. And honestly, that's the most negated risk option, right? We'll let the kid go out there, get a few reps, and then we'll let the old men finish it out. I mean, that's how you're gonna stay away or whatever, be more risk adverse, I should say. Nick, what do you think here? Is he going to be the week 1, or do we have to wait?
I think he's going to be week 1. He shows a lot more than what everyone else offers. I think the setup for the preseason is great. And if you think about it, the Bears didn't lie. Dalton is their starter for the preseason.
That's true. QB1.
Yeah, QB1.
I said Nick Foles. If you guys are playing preseason fantasy, that's your QB1. If you're doing a preseason fantasy league, then Foles has got to be your guy. He's got to go 101 in your draft if that's the case.
And if you run the visor, it's visor Foles. We all know visor Foles is really great. So
Yeah, he really wasn't, but he actually took the visor off and started doing better. But man, that swag.
The draft, it was too much.
That one game versus the Falcons was something. It really had me at
I was feeling here. It's crazy.
It's like, sorry, coach, I just got to drag my dick onto the field here really quick. Just give me a second. Throw these 5 or 4 touchdowns, whatever it was. Just give me a minute. But you can have my visor back. That's fine. All right, let's move on here. And I'm sure we're going to be continuing the Justin Fields talk as we go forward because Chicago media is just going to keep pushing and pushing that storyline as we get closer to week 1. All right, next up, we've got Travis Etienne being reported as working mostly as a receiver in camp. That's certainly not how he's being drafted right now. I'm seeing him go right ahead of James Robinson and a lot of dynasty leagues. But in redraft, I'm seeing him get about a round and a half ahead of Robinson. So where are you guys willing to draft Etienne in redraft versus fantasy? Are you going to be targeting him early in dynasty? And, is he some guy that you're really going to be waiting to pounce on or might take a little bit earlier in redraft? We'll start with Nick.
No. With him coming into the fold, it really mucks up what was a really clear situation with James Robinson. I feel like, he is going to have a lot more of a receiving threat right now. But it's going to end up being kind of like New England's backfield. You don't know which running back Robinson or Etienne is going to do well. I'm going to try and have him fall to me, both of them in redraft or dynasty, just because there's no clarity and we haven't seen Etienne in the NFL yet. So, he could be, CJ Spiller looked really good in Clemson too, but, in the NFL, he was kind of like a great kick returner. So we'll see how it goes.
What do you got, Steve?
Yeah, this is semantics to me. I've been watching Urban Meyer ever since he was at Florida. There have been I can tell you all the guys, Percy Harvin, they call them H-backs in Urban Meyer's offense. That's what they are. They're a wide receiver, running back split where they'll line up in the backfield, they'll line up in the slot. Percy Harvin did it. Curtis Samuel did it. Paris Campbell did it when he was in. And so this is just semantics. I think he's going to run Travis Etienne just similar to all of them. I don't know where I'm taking him in a dynasty. Maybe I'm taking him second at maybe the soonest. I wouldn't look first round because I think you also have to somewhat worry is how long is Urban Meyer going to be at with the Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, we've seen coaches who've made this jump from the college to pro ranks, and it's a different program you're running. So if he's gone, we saw it last year when James Robinson, who seemed like the guy there moving forward, and they get a new coach, and doesn't seem like he's going to be as involved. So I'm just not super high on Etienne. I would like Nick said, I'm going to let him fall to me, but him lining up as a receiver is really just semantics, I think.
Yeah, and I see him being a pass catcher for them, but they also have Carlos Hyde back there. They also have our boy, great name, not great production, Divine Ozigbo, right? Like I feel like they're going to be using a lot of these guys. We're going to see Tim Tebow probably take some rushing attempts if he makes his team, right? Like I like that in the sense that they're deep. The roster is going to have a lot of depth, and they're going to be able to have a lot of options to make some creative plays, right? Etienne, round 2 is too early for me in Dynasty. If there's a big run on running backs, I'm honestly going to take James Robinson over him, to be completely honest with you. It wouldn't be in the second round because I feel like either of those guys that early is going to be kind of a waste of a pick. But I am more in on James Robinson still than Travis Etienne because I've seen what Robinson can do at the pro level. And in Dynasty, in that circumstance, he could get moved. He doesn't have to stay there. He doesn't have a long contract with them. He's still under his rookie contract. James Robinson, the pride of ISU of Illinois State, right? So I'm all about him. I'm still in on James Robinson. I'm not fading him. It was kind of a kick in the dick, slap in the face, whatever, to his value for fantasy going forward. But I also feel like Etienne, all this talk is a great smokescreen to just be like, yeah, we're actually going to overload Robinson with work because we're going to be, we're going to have more weapons, we're going to have more threats, and we can just bury the ball in the ground with Robinson and Carlos Hyde. So I'm actually going opposite of what a lot of people are. I'm going to be taking Robinson over Etienne, especially in redraft. And Dynasty, Etienne definitely holds a little bit more value because he's the new shiny toy, and we don't know yet. We just don't know. So a lot of people just jump into that hype. I'm not going to. I love the connection between him and Lawrence. You just watch, there's plenty of tape available to see Lawrence throwing screens to Etienne, but at the same time, it's also going to be the Jags. There's going to be a lot of new pieces in play. Everybody's going to be trying to, establish their own roles. We still have guys like DJ Shark there, Marvin Jones that we're not talking about, right? So there's going to Laviska Shenault, who everyone is high on in fantasy. That guy gets used like like a Deebo Samuel or a Brandon Ayuk, a very Swiss knife type of player, right? They'll give him rushing attempts. So I feel like there's a lot of options here, and Etienne is just going to be one of those guys in the mix. I feel like people are going to be underwhelmed by his total production at the end of year one, and maybe not regretting it in Dynasty because he should have a future in the league. But I feel like people are overvaluing him in general.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I was just going to say, do you have anything to add before we move on?
The only thing I want to say about James Robinson, what he did last year was great. Honestly, he won me a league and kept me in a lot of it. Helped me with my shitty Clyde Edwards-Helaire first-round pick. And when you get James Robinson off the waiver wire, that helped tremendously. There's a big thing, though, when he was getting 30 carries a game on a losing team that didn't have shit going for them. So this year, if they want to be a winning team, I just would think that – I don't know if he hits 1,000 yards this year. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be difficult with that full room. Etienne, Carlos Hyde, like I mentioned, maybe he was Divine Ozigbo at some point. I don't know. I'd like them to. Dude had a great college career, but we'll see what happens. I think you might be right, but at the same time, James Robinson was also catching a lot of balls last year too. And everyone keeps saying, "Oh, it's volume, it's volume." That storyline's out there for sure. Hearing a lot of that, but I also just saw him pop off the tape. he just earned that role with his own performance. Like they had a few other guys there that they were giving touches to, but he was just that electric where he just kept himself on the field too. So I really like his talent. Trey's got another question here in the chat. Redraft, half PPR, better flex option to stash on my bench between Mecole Hardman and he says C. Patterson. I'm guessing that's Cordell. 1 point per 25 returns too. Nice. I'm still going to go with Hardman there because Hardman is actually also getting special teams play. I believe he's doing punt returns. Is that right? They took Tyreek off of punt returns.
Yeah.
So
He's
I'm going to go Mecole.
Tyreek Light.
Yeah. We've dropped that a few times, right? So I'm gonna go Mecole there. What about you guys?
I'm going to go Mecole too. Cordell Patterson, he might get a couple, crazy stat lines like Tim Tebow, but it's nothing going to be overwhelming. Mecole Hardman can go off sometimes for 100 receiving yards if he gets like 2 50-yard receptions, and he is going to take the punt returns, but he is a fast guy, so I would love to have him on my bench between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, upside of Hardman is there. I've been a truther on him since the beginning. I will say he's a tough one to ever have in your lineup because he will put up 2 points or he will put up, 25 points. It's it's literally it's tough with him. I wish you saw more consistency and with his speed, Mahomes should be able to hit him way more consistently. It's just not quite there yet. But I think you in that you're playing the upside, and Mecole Hardman has more upside there.
Yeah, absolutely. And until they add another receiver there, we just saw Sammy Watkins walk. He's with Baltimore now, so there's some more targets to go around. There's some more options for Mecole Hardman, whether it's special teams, maybe even getting mixed into some rushing attempts, some sweeps, and then just getting some easy targets underneath while Kelsey and Hill are making up space and downfield. So I'm all about it. Cordell Patterson too. I know Steve, you and I really like him because he's on the Bears, but his yards per average, whether it's carry, receiving, once he gets the ball, he's really not overwhelming to defenders. He doesn't really turn on the after jets or anything like that. He's good for a couple of play breaks, but not a consistent enough production for me. Obviously, he's going to be in a new home down there in Atlanta, so I'm just not excited about him in fantasy. But if you're in a league like Trey here, where you get some special teams options and some points for that, that's great. Cordell Patterson holds water. He actually holds some value there, so that's good stuff. Thanks for that second question there, Trey. Appreciate you, sir. Got a couple more here, and we'll jump into some running back battles. We got Antonio Brown. Looks like he's getting sued again. You guys, you can't fuck with your moving company, okay? This lawsuit is stemming from the verbal and physical abuse of a moving truck driver. The driver continues to suffer severe bodily injuries, pursuanary losses, I'm guessing that's financial losses, and mental anguish. I got beat up and yelled at by Antonio Brown. Bro, come on. What are you doing? He's chasing a lawsuit of $75,000 in damages, which, by the way, for a moving truck driver, it's probably your yearly salary. So will this year Antonio Brown be affected by off-field issues? We'll start with Nick.
No.
No?
This is a civil case now, so they avoided the jail time and they got past that, so now he's just got to pay people to sweep it under the rug and, it's in court. And, I think it's just another obstacle that he's going to have to, deal with. But in all eventuality, he's still going to be on the team at the end of the season. Tom Brady's got that guy, pretty much, under wraps right now.
All right. Well, I'll rephrase it like this. Is he going to get a suspension this year? Is he going to be missing time for this stuff?
No.
Okay.
He would have already gotten it. I mean, we saw that video when we were working together. We saw that video, and that was a long time ago. He would have already been suspended on that. They might just be like, time served already.
Everything follows Antonio Brown, though. The dude leaves a crumb trail for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the payment that this driver is asking for only being $75,000 to us, $75,000 is not just chump change, but to Antonio Brown, it is. I mean, he will just pay this as soon as possible, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Try and get another ring. I don't see I don't see him missing any time. I think that this is just, someone's going to try and catch a bag off of Antonio Brown, which when you have shitty character like he showed, whatever, what was it, 2 years now? 2 years ago?
No, it was a year ago. It was last year. The moving
No. Yes, this, but I mean,
Yeah.
all his issues was 2 years ago when he was on the Raiders and the Patriots. I mean, hey, it's easy to probably win a case against Antonio Brown because of
Not wrong.
past issues.
That's true. I mean, I don't think he's actually going to run into a suspension situation, but he's definitely a guy that they have to keep in check down there in Tampa. Like, I don't know what the deal is, if he's still going to be living with Tom, if he's living out in the beat or the pool house or whatever, but they got to keep this guy in check. And honestly, I would have still preferred for him to go somewhere else. Like, it's really going to be a full room down there with the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs. So really would have felt a lot better about him in fantasy if he had gone somewhere else. But I just don't like continuously seeing this stuff over and over and over, because you never know with Goodell, guys. Like, the guy's a madman. He's a dictator in this league. Like, he might just get get his rocks off one night and be like, you know what? Screw the Bucs. They just won the Super Bowl. Let's knock them down a notch. Let's bring them down a little bit here, right? Which is incredibly difficult because you always have this next topic, Tom Brady in the media, right? This dude is saying he's playing until he's 50. 50. Buy or sell one game played over the age of 49 and a half, guys.
Under. 50 is a tall order, man. If he gets hit, there's going to be some serious issues. I don't know. 50 is very long time to play. I think the oldest player was George Blanda, and he hit 49. I don't think we actually have had a play. Okay, 48. So it sounds like a great idea now. It's almost like when you're a kid and you're like, I can't wait till I grow up, and that's kind of what it sounds like right now. So I think he just needs to get a couple more belts or get a couple more championships and reevaluate and just be like, you know what, I really don't need my 12th ring.
Right. I don't know, Nick. Records are made to be broken.
Good luck, man. I wouldn't want to be hit as a 50-year-old player from a guy that's 25 coming up. He can literally snap your spine.
No, absolutely. I'm going to the under as well. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, so this is funny because probably 2 years ago I was talking to a buddy and I said he's going to play till 50, kind of not actually meaning it. I knew,
joking around, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's actually kind of being in the works. One thing I will say, he's behind a great offensive line, and we haven't seen that Peyton Manning Denver Bronco regression from Tom Brady yet. He didn't get carried last year by his defense to the Super Bowl. Did they help? Yes, but it wasn't a carry in no fashion. So numbers wise, you're taking the under on that 10 times out of 10, just because who the hell is playing at 50, the most important position in the whole team. So I'm going to take the under there just because history kind of is in our favor.
All right, I'm going to put the number at 48. 4 more years.
4 is a lot of years. Think about where you were 4 years ago. That was a long ass time ago.
I'm gonna say under still.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the unders just because I do feel like he's just one hit away. We saw what happened to Alex Smith. I'm not saying something crazy like that's going to happen to Tom Brady, but you can go through a situation like that just says hey, I'm now a step behind, or whatever. I can't protect myself or whatever it is. Hey,
Drew Brees found out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But see, that's another thing too, is I don't see Tom Brady as at what Drew Brees was this year or what Matt Ryan was this year. Right. I do believe that he is better than those guys right now. And he's 44 years old. I don't remember the exact age of Brees or Ryan, but they're in their late 30s, I believe. Right. Brees wasn't in his 40s, was he?
No, I think Brees hit his 40. Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay. So I still like what he's doing. It's very, very hard
42.
to imagine. Yeah, it's very, very hard to imagine. And yeah, the last 2 years, I was not impressed with Drew Brees' arm. I'm not saying he's got dead arm like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan looked like his arm was just it just gave out this year. I don't know what was going on with him. And they're talking about that offense being more vertical. I don't get it. But Tom, he's got the opportunity to do it. The TB12 method is very popular. Aaron Rodgers is on it. He's reading his book and shit. Wants to play till he's 52. What's the over-under for Aaron Rodgers? He's at 37. So I'll give you 44 for Aaron Rodgers. Will he play beyond 44 years?
I'm taking the under on that.
Really?
I don't think he has the desire to play like that.
Yeah.
I think he has other aspirations
Okay.
outside of this, and he will have a career, whether it be Jeopardy host or some type of media. I think he has more.
Mm-hmm. Tommy, you're in the chat. Who do you see 3 years for? I can see 3 years. Is it
was
for Tom
Tom.
or for
Tom.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
44 for Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers is wholly more talented than Tom Brady, but Tom Brady is so fanatical in his pursuit of greatness that he like shores up everything else with just being that great of a hard worker.
Right.
I see it. Tom Brady getting closer to 48 than Aaron Rodgers gets to 44. And that's how I see it. So I'm gonna say under for Aaron as well.
I'm going over. He's reading the TB12 method. He's really digging in, and like we've said, he's a very, very, very intelligent guy. I feel like he has the acumen to figure out how to keep himself in this league. So I'm going to go with the over for Aaron. I think he sticks around for a while as well. Let's move on here. We got one more topic, then we're going to jump into some early RB battles. Juju Smith-Schuster says looks like he's going to be playing more outside receiver in 2021. Chase Claypool, I feel like, should be lining up outside there, and they should be trying to leverage more Juju out of the slot. Who do you guys like in redraft this year, Juju or Claypool? Obviously, Juju, he's going to get drafted a little bit earlier. So essentially, will you take Juju where he's getting drafted, or maybe Claypool at value? Where are you guys at?
Claypool at value. I think that he is a lot more of an explosive player than Juju, and I think that Claypool has more of the like DNA to be a number one receiver one day. Juju, he's happy being number two. He needs that number one guy. He's not going to have those number one numbers because we saw what happened when Antonio Brown left and Juju just fell off a damn cliff. So Claypool, I think that if he continues on the path that he's on, he'll be a great number one receiver. So I'll take Claypool.
All right, right on. What do you got, Steve?
So I guess it would depend. I think I'm going to lean more towards Claypool at value. If it's PPR, you do have to give Juju a look because he had 97 catches last year, but only put up 831 yards on that. And I mean, Big Ben's only getting worse. He's not getting much better. So I think that's where it is. I also think temper expectations with Claypool because he busted onto the scene and had 10 touchdowns very quickly. And then he wasn't anywhere to be found. You didn't necessarily know it. So I'm not necessarily high on either, maybe more because of who their quarterback is and being Big Ben at what's he? We're talking old quarterbacks. He's got to be 39, maybe 40. Big Ben.
I'm not sure. But between the two, I'm going to take Juju actually because Juju this season, I feel like we're getting at a discount because of Deontay Johnson's production. Like he had a fantastic year last year. And in my opinion, he's probably the guy that I desire most out of that offense. But he's going to definitely be coming out of the slot with Claypool and Juju on the outside the numbers. But Juju going like in the 5th round, 6th round, just depending on your format, that's great value for me for a guy that is going to compete as a number one receiver. Obviously, you have 3 really good guys there, like I just mentioned, Juju, Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. I'm going to take Juju here just because I feel like his value is slipping because people are just a little bit higher on him, and I can get him at a bigger discount than I've usually been getting him at. Did you get up Ben's age?
39.
39. So he's slipping as well. He's probably got one more year in him, right? You agree, Nick?
Are we talking about Big Ben?
Yeah, he's probably got one more year, right?
He's on borrowed time right now. Like, I'm surprised he's coming back for one more year, to be completely honest. But I think that if this, I don't see the Steelers like really going anywhere in the playoffs, and I think that he's going to realize this year, like, all right, like I can't take this team to the next level like I can, and it's going to be a battle to get to another season for him. To be honest, he's taken a lot of damage throughout his career, so I don't see him lasting as long as Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Man, imagine if they got Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God!
Yeah,
wow.
Right. Just keep the cycle moving of them being great, and then they also develop wide receivers better than any team in the league. Like 6 round picks, doesn't matter where you take them. Big Ben, I really think this is his last year because I think the Steelers, first off, they had to sit down this year to restructure his contract. And I think they really told him, like, hey, this is it. You're kind of done here. My biggest thing is, when are they going to get someone in there? Because Dwayne Haskins, Tom even says it right now. Like, is Dwayne Haskins their future? What the hell are they doing? Draft someone, because Mason Rudolph ain't it. Duck Hodges, get him out of here.
Duck, 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 duck. I will take Duck Hodges all day, twice on Tuesdays, over Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, in my opinion, is worse than Ben DiNucci. I cannot stand Mason Rudolph. Yeah, he is not my guy. And yeah, behind Ben, they have like literally probably the worst quarterback room. I don't think Duck Hodges is on the roster, actually, guys. I don't think he's signed with them right now. Yeah, which is crap because, and like I said, in my opinion, he's better than Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph had a couple of bright spots, I think, last year when he filled in, and he still wasn't the guy though. And if you go out and get Dwayne Instagram Haskins, you have no confidence in Mason Rudolph. And yeah, exactly. You have no confidence in Mason Rudolph. Who are you trying to sell that to? I don't love it. Aaron Rodgers there, though. Oh my God. Could you imagine that with those weapons? Deontay, Juju, Claypool, Najee, and those running backs. Oh my Lord. Oh my goodness. Who was the tight end they just grabbed? Was it Freiermuth?
Freiermuth, yeah, from Penn State.
Yeah, he'd light him up too. He'd make him a stud right away. Just look what he did for
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Nick. Look what he just did for Tanya.
Yeah. The disrespect that we didn't even give Joshua Dobbs a mention on here. He's a Steelers lifer at quarterback.
Is he signed right now?
Yeah, he's back with him.
He's probably the smartest guy in that room, to be completely honest. He has like an aerospace engineering degree, like not even playing. So I think that they like him. I think he's going to be a great coach one day, Josh Dobbs.
All right. Good stuff. Some Josh Dobbs love. All right, let's move on here. We're going to go into some early RB battles, and we'll try to keep it quick here. I know it's been a long-winded episode so far, but gosh, I love talking football. Premonition season. It's my shtick. It's my gag. But be sure to slam the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Let's go. All right. First up, San Francisco 49ers. Where are you planting your flag here? We've got Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon, Wayne Gallman, Elijah Mitchell, JaMycal Hasty, who made some waves last year. Anyone? Bueller? Are you even drafting any of these guys? Who do you like here? We'll start with Nick.
I'm going to stack Raheem Mostert and JaMycal Hasty. I think Raheem Mostert is definitely the lead dog, but he needs to show that he can last an entire season. And in the Shanahan offense, the running back is going to get a lot of zone run looks. So, if you're going to go into the San Francisco running back room, you have to get at least one handcuff. And if you can get a second one in the back end just to be extra safe, that's even better. But for me, the best running back in that room to me is Raheem Mostert. It's his room to lose. And as soon as he gets hurt, though, anyone else can take the torch and keep the ball moving. So I really like that room, even though it's almost like, cluster F, like New England or something. I have a lot more confidence in the system for allowing the hot hand to go. And that's what I really like about it.
All right. What do you got, Steve?
Boo, Tommy, boo. I don't like that.
I think that I'm going to go. I think it's like Nick said, it's Mostert's backfield to lose. So I think he's kind of lead back. How I like to play the 49ers backfield is don't draft any of them, but that they're going to be – sometime JaMycal Hasty is going to get his touches. So just pick up whoever the guy is, whether it be Trey Sermon, whoever – off waivers and try and plug him in. I just think you don't have to spend a high pick on whoever it is and just see if you can plug them in somewhere or trade for, very little and try and get one of them.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick up Trey Sermon from waivers. That guy is going one single round behind Raheem Mostert. Well, the last couple mocks I've done, Mostert's going like round 8.
That's ridiculous.
Sermon's going round 9. Well, round 8 for a starting running back. You ain't going to complain about that. But
no, I'm just saying that it's
Sermon
that
going
high
around later. Well, hey, it's hype season, baby. Like that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it. what does Tommy say? Does Trey Lance take away carries? He's got to get on the field first. But maybe like a red zone touchdown every now and again, but I don't think so. I feel like they just buried the ball with Mostert, who is the guy that I would want the most. I just don't think that we're going to be able to get Trey Sermon. JaMychal Hasty, you can get for free. Like, no one's drafting that dude right now. So
okay, but yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he was a guy you could pick up from waivers. Jeff Wilson would be the type of guy you could pick up from waivers. I don't think Sermon's going to be available because.
No, okay, Wayne Gallman, you pick him up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Wayne Gallman, definitely a guy that you're going to be able to pick up from waivers if they catch that same type of injury bug as well. With Shanahan, you just don't know. Like Nick alluded to, the outside zone offense here, it works miracles, and they have a lot of options. Tommy's in the chat saying he's gonna stay away. I would like to get in on Mostert, but round 8, I don't think it's that rich. I think that's a very comfortable space for me to grab him, but I don't believe I'm going to be running to grab Sermon or Gallman or even Elijah Mitchell. I feel like he's going to be kind of forgotten there. JaMychal Hasty, he's nothing really to write home about. It's just that when he got his opportunity last year for the Niners, he took advantage of it and he did pretty well. He did create some fantasy relevance for a few weeks. It wasn't anything crazy. So I do like kind of both your guys' takes there. Go after, a guy like Mostert for sure, and then just wait and see on the rest. Like even Nick said, stack with Hasty, but you can literally go pick up Hasty right after your draft. You could literally just trade away a pick and just go and grab him, to fill in a slot. So wouldn't hate it either way. But I think it sounds like our flags are planted firmly on Raheem Mostert. What about the Buffalo Bills with Zach Moss and Devin Singletary? Let's see. They also have Matt Breida, Tawan Jones, Antonio Williams, Christian Wade, who I believe they just drafted, or maybe it was a free agent signing post-draft. Where are you guys going there? Any love?
No. I'm staying away. That's my second AFC East team that I'm staying away. New England and Buffalo, the running back room. Strangely enough, I like Miami's room, but
I do too.
I definitely don't want any shares of Buffalo. I was ultra disappointed with just them, as a whole. It almost made Buffalo seem very one-dimensional with Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen, and that was about it. I felt like if their rushing attack was a little bit stronger and a little bit more consistent, they could have really, made a Super Bowl appearance. But they really had to depend on Josh Allen's arm. So I'm staying away from that backfield.
And his legs, too. I mean, Allen really had to do a lot on the ground.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I'm staying far away from Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. We saw what that did. I think I like the upside that Breida could bring to them. I mean, he's kind of we've seen what the others have done in this offense. He's kind of the question mark where you don't know what he brings. So I think that's, if I'm going to touch any of them, I'm probably going to go and grab Breida. It's just not how they're really built. Yeah, I mean, proceed with caution, because also Cole Beasley eats up targets. Stefon Diggs eats up targets. And now you have Emmanuel Sanders in the mix. And then, you have their kind of revolving door of Dawson Knox and all their tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, I just think this is one. And then you alluded to it with Josh Allen. He's your touchdown goal line vulture.
Absolutely. I'm going to stay away from both, but I could see myself grabbing a Devin Singletary as just, an insurance option. If I already have 3 running backs, I don't hate him being on my team as my 4th running back. It's just that, everyone else in your league really needs to also bail on him. It sounds like the 3 of us are, in the backfield in general. Hey, maybe we even see some carries from Mitch Trubisky. Who knows? we got mobile quarterbacks here, Yeah, I don't like Matt Breida either. If I'm staying away from Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, I'm not even looking at Matt Breida. I was expecting so much more for him last year with the Dolphins, just having at least a presence. I mean, Jordan Howard was getting 1 touch, 1 yard, and a touchdown. Matt Breida wasn't getting anything, right? So they really faded him last year. Wasn't a fan of that, and just really didn't do enough on the field to say I should be comfortable taking this guy in fantasy. So sounds like we're all staying very, very far away. Let's move over to the Denver Broncos. We're looking at Melvin Gordon versus Javonte Williams. Maybe some Royce Freeman and Mike Boone in there, but I don't think that those guys are going to be fantasy relevant. Where are you guys at here? Melvin Gordon versus Javonte Williams.
I'm going to go Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon, I feel like he just is not going to be able to put together an entire season. Like it just seems like, he has the ability, but he just hasn't been able to string together complete games. And even Philip Lindsay last year was showing that, he was better in some games. Not every game, but it was just back and forth. Like it was either B or C. It wasn't there no A there. But I'm going to take Javonte Williams. I loved his tape at UNC. I thought that was a great pick for, Philip Lindsay leaving. So Javonte Williams is my pick over Melvin Gordon.
What do you think, Steve?
I'm still going to ride with Melvin Gordon. They're going to give him a bulk of it. I like what Javonte Williams does. I mean, it's a little bit watered down because every fantasy Twitter was banging that drum since the beginning of, when we started analyzing prospects and stuff like that. So I'm not as high as everyone else. But Melvin Gordon is serviceable. He's not bad. They gave him a $16 million contract last year. So I think it's not going to change too much. If Javonte Williams, when he breaks out, it's probably post week 8. So I think you do have some value with Gordon there.
All right. I like Williams over Gordon personally. Gordon, though, is getting drafted like in the 7th round. So he's potentially like your 3rd, maybe even 4th running back if you're going running back heavy to start your draft. So I don't hate his value. And where he's getting drafted, the guys around him, I could see myself having probably Melvin Gordon over these guys. So Mike Davis, Chase Edmonds, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt all went ahead of Melvin Gordon in this round 7 mock. Damian Harris went right after that, and Raheem Mostert was the pick after Harris. So I guess I'll just throw a couple of these names out here to you guys. Would you rather have Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, or Raheem Mostert? Who really speaks to you the most in kind of like the background or right before round 10, we'll say?
Kareem Hunt would be a steal in that out of those 3. Like I think that would be a great pick. I'm going to go Hunt, and then Mostert, and then Gordon in those 3.
All right. How about you, Steve?
I don't know. It's just so tough with Kareem Hunt because I think Nick Chubb is a top 3 running back in the whole league. So, I mean, and he does eat some of if it's PPR, you get some value there also. So I guess if I had to pick, I'm going to go – ooh, this is tough. Mostert because of the system he's in. Him first. Damn it. I don't even think – because I'm looking at Melvin Gordon's numbers. Almost 1,000 yards last year and 9 touchdowns. That's a great season. So I guess I'm going to go Mostert, Gordon, Hunt, and that's even though I think that's just the opportunity that Hunt has.
Well, I feel like Hunt and Chubb, they can both be, top 12, top 15 running backs in fantasy at least. Hunt is a great handcuff. We've seen Chubb get hurt a few times in his young career so far, and his style of play, Nick Chubb, it's pretty brutal, right? Like, this is a guy that I'm not going to say he's injury prone, but he has a higher risk than say like a guy like Alvin Kamara, in my opinion. When we're talking like top 5 running backs, like guys in that space. But I will go something similar. I'm going to go Mostert, Gordon, Hunt, just because, when I'm targeting guys, I want the most opportunity, and Hunt still is splitting a backfield, but we're really trading hairs there. For Javonte Williams, honestly, between the two, I still want Williams more. I am one of those people that is, Williams is like, one of the best running backs in the draft, has a best opportunity to earn like that RB1 opportunity just because he only has one guy to beat. And Melvin Gordon, he did have a very productive total season last year, but is very high, very mixed in with highs and lows. And then also, we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be, right? I feel like Javonte Williams will settle in more as that scat back 3rd down type of guy, and that's going to be able to earn him a little bit more opportunity as the weeks go on. So when you're looking at running backs, like you said, Steve, that are going to kind of take off between week 8 and later, where he's going is round 10. Like that there's really no risk right now for taking him. And Melvin Gordon, I feel like we're risking it a little bit more. So I would probably take Mostert in that space ahead of him and probably wait to even grab a Williams in the back end of that. But you know what? I really don't hate. Take them both. Take Gordon and Williams because in your draft, honestly, you should be able to. And then you just lock down that backfield. With where they're getting drafted, you can grab both of them, and then you're just assuring yourself, hey, I've got one backfield, and it's really not that bad of a situation. All right, let's move on to the next one. Actually, let's skip the Bucks because we've actually talked about that battle a few times. Let's go with the Cardinals with Chase Edmonds versus James Conner. You guys have a flag to plant here, or are you guys staying away?
I'm probably going to stay away, but out of any of them, it'd be Chase Edmonds. James Conner just didn't impress me with what he did in Pittsburgh, and he had every opportunity to succeed. Going to Arizona, it's not a run-heavy offense. It's really Kyler and D-Hop. I'm just going to take Chase Edmonds because he showed that he's able to exist within the system that's there already and have success.
Fair enough. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think Chase Edmonds is the guy there. We've just seen, putting any weight in James Conner's tough because he's so fragile lately. He came on the scene and he is very, very good. But it's tough. And Chase Edmonds has been in the system. He gets it done. And you could probably get him at a value.
I agree, but I'm going to stay away. And the main reason is Kyler Murray. He's not a rushing quarterback, but the dude runs for his life all the time, and he constantly just steals rushing yards. He constantly steals rushing touchdowns. So I'm going to stay away just because I don't know what I'm going to get from either guy. Had Conner not been signed, I would have loved Edmonds just because he was alone back there. It would have been his backfield. Even if they had gotten Edmonds and just drafted a guy, maybe even like a Javonte Williams or something like that, I would have been more in on Edmonds. But I feel like both of these guys are just going to eat into each other's production. They also have Jonathan Ward, Eno Benjamin, Khalifi Muhammad, and Tavian Feaster. I don't know how many of those guys even make the roster, but also with James Conner, there's just like the injury bugs, right? Like I don't think anyone's really trying to invest in him early in fantasy. And in general, I just feel like Kyler Murray is just going to poach yards, poach touchdowns. So for me, it's not an ideal situation to draft a running back in fantasy. So I'm going to go with just staying away from that backfield. Let's see. Let's move on to the Jets and the Texans to close it out because we've already kind of talked about the Falcons and Jags quite a bit. So with the Jets, who are you guys going after here? I know they've got Tevin Coleman, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, I believe, is still there, right? Where are you guys going here? Oh, LaMichael Pirine. That was the other one I was thinking of. Who's your guy in New York?
No one. I'm not excited about that room at all either. There's just no one that really sticks out in my mind. Like, coaches talk all the time about, this rookie can have a great season like Michael Carter, or, Devin Coleman can have a resurgence. But, it's been so hard in New York recently. I'm just going to give them a year to, transition from Gase to Saleh and just stay away from that team entirely in fantasy, just for my own team, just because I don't believe that anybody's going to have true success that I can't find elsewhere.
Okay.
No, I think that is probably a home run explanation. Tevin Coleman, I think talent-wise, and he has it, but he always is having head injuries, things like that, and I don't think this is a great situation. If he was with the 49ers and could barely get it moving, how is he going to do much in this offense? So I think that's an issue. I think if out of them all, I'm probably rolling the dice on Michael Carter. If, gun to head, I'd take him.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like LaMichael Pirine just because of his value. Like, he's just going to be free. He's got COVID right now. Everybody's going to be fading him. I can't remember what draft pick they spent on him last year, but Michael Carter and LaMichael Pirine, either of those options are just fine to me. Tevin Coleman, I don't want to invest in for all the reasons that Steve just mentioned. He gets hurt. He's not really that reliable. Maybe he's good for you like the first 3 to 5 games, but I don't know if he's even going to last beyond that. So Michael Carter or LaMichael Pirine at value. I won't say I'm going to completely stay away because I do feel like one of those guys could earn like a number 1 spot and be, someone who's, like a potential league winner for you, like week 8 and beyond. If you pick up one of those guys that, they could be on the free agency, to be honest with you, they could be on the waivers. So I feel like one of those guys could rise to the top towards the back end of the season after they get some more reps, experience, et cetera. Right. So I'm not really into drafting any of them up front. Yeah, you get one of those guys in your second to last pick of your draft. I think they could be a nice little stash for you. Just keep them on your bench. Don't throw them away right away when they don't do anything the first handful of weeks. I think they could be a nice little stash for you. All right, last up here, and then we're going to close it out. We've got the Texans. Ick. It doesn't look very appetizing. Is there anybody there for either of you that could be a fantasy relevant name that moves the chains for you? Fills out the points. You're looking at David Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram. Anybody? Bueller? Anyone?
Maybe Mark Ingram, just because of the possible touchdowns and short yardage, but it would kind of be like a Jordan Howard hope. I just don't see him taking over that backfield because they're just trying everybody out for the transition after Deshaun Watson. So if anybody, Mark Ingram, but it's really just to kind of fill in, get those extra points to try and, put me over the edge to win the week.
Right. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think this is just a terrible situation for all of them. I think I take Phillip Lindsay to eat up the most yards, but then I think once you get it within, when you're at the goal line, he's not going to get those. I think you see Mark Ingram get him. Can Mark Ingram stay healthy? Does David Johnson, is he the big body that they want to run between the tackles there at the goal line? So I think Phillip Lindsay, if I had to pick which one gets the most yards out of the three, I'm going Phillip Lindsay. Most touchdowns. I'll go – I don't even know if I can go Mark Ingram. I'll go David Johnson.
David Johnson was selected in this last mock right behind Trey Sermon. James Conner went right after David Johnson, and then Ronald Jones, the second, went after him. That's a really tough mix, but that's in like round 9. And round 9, I'm definitely not – yeah.
David, late?
Yeah, he went in round 9.
That's ridiculous.
Kenyon Drake went 2 picks after him, and then it was Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, that kind of space. Zach Moss and Singletary, I know we just spoke about them. Zach Moss went in the first pick around 10. Singletary went 2 picks after, so literally 2 picks away, like right next to each other. And Nyheim Hines, who I would take over both of those guys, went after Singletary. But back to the Texans. Yeah, I mean, David Johnson, he's your pass-catching guy. Phillip Lindsay, he's kind of like your first and second down type of yardage guy. Mark Ingram, he's in the red zone. This means I'm not taking any of them because no one has a defined role. I mean, honestly, if one of them got hurt, I might make a trade for one of the leftovers. I might target like a David Johnson or a Phillip Lindsay if someone were to go down. And I feel like that guy would be Mark Ingram early on. I'm not really sure. But realistically, I'm just going to be staying away. I'm not going to be trying to get involved with any of those guys. And realistically, without knowing what's going on with Deshaun Watson, how can we? Even in round 9 or 10, the talent that's available there, it's just a lot better and more reliable, in my opinion. We're looking at guys
I don't like any of them.
So we're going over like Tariq Cohen, Javonte Williams, J.D. McKissick, Nyheim Hines. Like, you're just looking at PPR guys, right? Like the guys that you're taking as your third or fourth running back on your roster. There's no real risk to it. Honestly, with David Johnson, too, I mean, if he's your third or fourth running back, are you really that concerned if he starts the year out on your bench?
No.
Or would you rather go and get like Marquise Brown or Rashad Bateman, who is kind of similar to that Zach Moss Singletary situation in the beginning of round 9? First pick, Marquise Brown. 2 picks later, Rashad Bateman. I would flip that exactly the opposite way. But Marvin Jones Jr., Michael Gallup, Aaron Rodgers was drafted in this round. Mind you, this is single quarterback league, so it's not like 2 quarterback or anything like that. I would be all over Aaron Rodgers if he was somehow in the 9th round. I don't care if I know he's playing or not. Like, I'll figure it out. I can figure that out later. Tom Brady went 2 rounds later. So would you rather just be not even selecting a running back in that space, or would you just take like a risk-free grab at a Texans running back?
I would take Michael Gallup. That was the guy that caught my eye. Even if he's still there in Dallas, there's still a lot of opportunity there. If he gets traded, he's going to be at least a number 2, possibly 1, depending on what team he goes to. So Michael Gallup, I would definitely rather have him.
What do you think, Steve?
I agree with that, Michael Gallup. I think it's inevitable that they're going to have to trade him sometime just because of what he's going to be demanding money-wise and where they're at sitting with the cap. It's one that you've been able to predict ever since they drafted CeeDee Lamb. It seemed like obvious. So, yeah, if we're in that space, I'm taking Michael Gallup as well over any of these Texans running backs. I mean, like I said, I don't even think David Johnson is the leading rusher in that backfield.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, it's just a very convoluted situation. I'm going to try to stay away. But if I have a stack of running backs and those guys are landing at my feet, I may take a David Johnson or a Phillip Lindsay just as an assurance pick. That's all we have for today's show, guys. But while we were live, Kelvin Benjamin was signed. They got a deal done.
Attaboy. He's going to take that signing bonus and run to McDonald's, something.
Straight to Popeyes, baby. So right now we're looking at Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, and Kelvin Benjamin. Hey,
The
double
guy's
tight end
smart.
sets.
Big
Double
yikes.
Big yikes. Big yikes. Poor Kyle Rudolph. They brought in who? I was coming here to play more. I was coming here for more touches. I mean, I don't think Kelvin Benjamin's going to command touches, but thought that was a nice little note to add since we talked him up on the show here, or maybe talked him down, whichever way you look at it. All right, cool. You got anything to close it out with, boys?
Hold your doge.
Hold your doge.
That's it.
Anything, Steve?
No, take care. Thanks for coming out and watching.
Yep, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate everybody jumping in the chat. If you didn't, be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. We are off tomorrow and Wednesday for hockey and basketball, but we will be back Sunday with another football episode for Take It to the Hizzy 145. Take care. Be well. We'll see you next time. Later.
See you guys.